Okay, I did not think we would be making 2 videos in a row on the channel talking about big fights and altercations, but here we are. Guess who made the amazing decision to scratch Erik Gudbranson in fantasy hockey today? Me, because I didn't realize the guy would be back. Now, you may be wondering, why in the world do I have Erik Gudbranson on my fantasy team? Well, it's because if you're new here, I've been talking about this the entire year. The Hockey YouTubers League that in which I'm a part of this year very much values hits and blocks, like way more than normal. It's kind of weird because John from Hot Take Hockey, he decreased the goals and assists rating and increased the blocks and hits rating, so it's pretty equal actually. Now, a bunch of guys that get a bunch of blocks are more valuable than ever before, which is why I have Erik Gudbranson. He's legitimately been one of my top scoring players this entire season, and he's missed the past 3 games in Blue Jackets hockey with an illness. Not an injury, an illness. And so I had him on my scratch list. I had 6 other defensemen to play for today. And so when I woke up, I realized, oh, wait a minute, the Columbus game is at 10 a.m. PST. And Erik Gudbranson's playing. He's got hits, he's got blocks, he has an assist too. And I had this guy on my bench. So, boo-hoo to me. But Erik Gudbranson having 2 blocks, 2 hits, having an assist, that's cool. But that's not what people are talking about with Erik Gudbranson, because after making his return to the Columbus Blue Jackets lineup against a Florida Panthers team that is hungry, he went out there and had himself a fight for the ages. The opponent here is Nick Cousins, who actually takes down Erik Gudbranson at some point in the game. Gudbranson is skating behind the Blue Jackets net to retrieve a puck, and it's Cousins who is behind him, and while Gudbranson moves it up the ice, Cousins kind of launches himself backwards into Gudbranson. It's weird. Like, you could see in the clip here, he spins around and puts his back as the main point of contact. He kind of launches himself into Gudbranson whilst skating with the momentum he's got. Gudbranson goes, I don't know what you want to say. Is that head first into the boards? Shoulder and face first, kinda, right there into the boards. Cousins, the entire weight of the guy gets pressed into Gudbranson. It's a very weird and ugly hit. You know how they say, don't check a guy in the numbers? Well, this hit was kind of numbers on numbers because of the way Nick Cousins spins around and dangerously launches himself into Gudbranson and the boards. Now, the crazy part is, Erik Gudbranson was down for like 2 or 3 seconds after this hit, but the guy who ends up standing up for Gudbranson and starts wailing on Cousins after is Gudbranson himself. He's down on the ice for 3 seconds and then he gets up right away, throws the gloves off, and just starts wailing at the guy. There isn't an immediate response from the other Blue Jackets players. They kind of just are there, and then once Gudbranson starts going after Cousins, that's when the other Blue Jackets get involved. That's when Bennett gets involved. That's when the scrum starts. This was assessed as a 5-minute penalty for Cousins. 5-minute major, 5-minute boarding. But after video review, the referees called this a 2. What in the world? What? Okay, sure, it may not be boarding in the traditional sense. This is not a player shoving his elbow or shoving his stick into a guy's numbers, putting him into the boards. This is Cousins launching himself full speed, numbers on numbers, spinning into Gudbranson. And you're telling me this is not a 5? Okay, well, I'm interested in seeing how that's going to go down. How is this game going to proceed with Nick Cousins only getting a 2-minute penalty, not a major, not a misconduct, not whatever, because that's a dangerous hit if I've ever seen a dangerous hit. And when you're doing it on a guy like Erik Gudbranson, who is noted for being the pretty physical specimen that he is, I wonder how he is going to respond. Well, give it a few minutes left in the 3rd period, and this is where Erik Gudbranson goes sicko mode. Because as Nick Cousins has the puck in the Blue Jacket zone, he's trying to make a play to Tkachuk down low. Cousins throws the puck up ice. Erik Gudbranson is the defender who is on him, and instead of going for a hit or trying to swat the puck away, Gudbranson just kind of grabs Cousins. He takes him down into the ice. The fans in Columbus are on their feet, and Gudbranson just starts wailing on the guy. He goes ungloved, unhinged, sicko mode, just starts wailing on him over and over. Matthew Tkachuk comes in, tries to take Guddy off of Cousins. Cousins is kind of turtling a little bit. He doesn't have his gloves off, Cousins doesn't. It's only Gudbranson. Then there's a bit of a brawl that goes on afterwards between all the players in this game. And this is one of these things where if you look at it isolated, you say, okay, Erik Gudbranson just kind of removed himself from the play, grabbed a guy, shoved him to the ice, threw his own glove off, and just started wailing on this player. That is probably something that under normal circumstances, if it's done out of the blue with no context whatsoever, you're like, okay, get that guy out of the league. That's Bush League stuff, bro. Get suspended. What are you doing? Taking down random dudes and starting to just go ham on them. And I'm not saying that this isn't a bad thing what Erik Goodbranson did. It's certainly uncalled for. But is it understandable within the circumstances of this game and what had happened prior? Yeah, absolutely. Like, the fact that Nick Cousins was still in this game, no 5-minute major, no penalty, no misconduct, whatever, like, okay, that's a choice, but the referees decided to go with it. But because there was no precedent set, because giving this guy a 2-minute minor boarding penalty for pretty much launching himself into Goodbranson sets the standard that that type of stuff is okay, what are you going to do? Let the players accept that? Force these guys to say, okay, yeah, well, no, it's a 2-minute minor. What are you talking about? No major. It was not that big of a deal. Come on, Columbus, what are you doing? So don't get upset when Erik Goodbranson goes out there and tries to take matters into his own hands. The players police themselves in a way that we have been seeing for years. It's up to the referees to make sure that that policing stays within the acceptable boundaries of what's normally appropriate in these hockey situations. And the Nick Cousins situation not being given proper policing is what led to this Goodbranson thing in the first place. Erik Goodbranson got 7 minutes worth of penalties after this scrum. He was ejected from the game. And with the way things are going, I mean, he may get a suspension. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Like, he just took down a guy and started going street mode on him. That is totally not called for and unacceptable conduct, but I won't say that I don't understand it. And at the same time, I won't say that, heck, a lot of hockey players put in the same situation, maybe even you or me, regular human beings, frustrated, feeling that there wasn't proper punishment handed out. How in the hell was Nick Cousins able to escape that with impunity? It's no wonder Erik Goodbranson took matters into his own hands. The refs didn't do anything for him. So I'm very intrigued as to seeing where this is going to go. For Nick Cousins, I mean, look, buddy, you get what you deserve. You ended up giving a very careless hit. Not gonna say under normal circumstances does a player deserve to get pounded on the way that Nick Cousins ended up getting, but look, dude, you reap what you sow. That's a really dangerous hit, and it probably should have been a 5, maybe even a misconduct. Remove this guy from the game, and all of a sudden Erik Goodbranson doesn't have a player to go out there and target for the next period and a bit. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Florida Panthers. We didn't even talk about the game. We didn't talk about the goals. Who cares that Erik Goodbranson got an assist? Who cares that he got 2 blocks? Okay, I personally do normally because he'd be getting points for my fantasy team, but I said that I scratched him today, so yeah, that's my bad. I didn't realize that he would be healthy, good to go after 4 games, because like last night, I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know, I thought this entire time that he'd be able to come back, right? Like him and Laine have been out with illness for the past 3 games. Who loses 3 games due to an illness? This must have been a really crazy thing. So there's a chance he could come back tomorrow, but I didn't want to scratch any of the guys that I knew were guaranteed to be playing, so I was like, all right, we'll just go to bed, wake up tomorrow at 10, and if Goodbranson is in, he's in, but then I, slept past the alarm. Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about Erik Goodbranson, the Nick Cousins situation, the Panthers, and the Blue Jackets. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.